As we progress through our journey of learning ethical hacking and penetration testing, we come to the second phase, the second step of ethical hacking and penetration testing. That is scanning. So we're going to be talking about scanning today and its role and its importance in ethical hacking. But before we do that, let me just introduce myself. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Tech Coach Ralph. We are engineered to win on the Tech Coach Ralph channel. Like I said, we're going to do a high-level overview of scanning because that's what we're going to be doing on our live stream for learning ethical hacking coming up very, very soon. So I wanted to take a moment to do a overview so that we can get familiar with it, so we can start getting familiar with the terminology, what we're going to be doing, all of that good stuff. All right. But with that being said, let's just jump into the presentation right away. So scanning, and I named this presentation the next stage of ethical hacking because we just spent weeks going into reconnaissance about information gathering, intel, and now that we have gathered this intel, we're going to start seeing how we can make use of it through scanning. All right, so let's go. So on our agenda for today, we're going to have our introduction to scanning. We're going to talk about the different types of scanning, the different tools that are used for scanning, the different phases of scanning, how to interpret the results that we get from our scanning jobs. We're going to talk about mitigation and reporting of our results. And then we're going to look at a real world example, real world case study, and then we're going to wrap it up with our conclusion. All right, so let's get to it. So for our introduction, just go a quick recap of ethical hacking penetration testing. There are like 5 stages of penetration testing. Basically, what ethical hacking and penetration testing is, where you are doing for a company with the permission of a company, you are trying to infiltrate their network to see what you can discover, what are the risks and vulnerabilities that evildoers, that the bad people can exploit from that company. So we spent, like I said, we spent the past few weeks live learning different information gathering tools, different reconnaissance tools, and we went through what web we thanks to my guy Matthew Rogers. He introduced me to a tool called Bbot, and we tried that as well last week, and we're going to probably keep playing with it a little bit tomorrow on tomorrow's live stream before we actually get into the scanning and reading about that and trying to use that. But that is a quick recap of what ethical hacking is. Trying to infiltrate networks, but with permission to find out what the weaknesses are. Right. So we're going to talk about what exactly is scanning and why scanning is important as the second phase, the second step of ethical hacking. So what exactly is scanning? Scanning in cybersecurity refers to the process of examining networks, systems, or applications to discover potential vulnerabilities, open ports, active services, and other security relevant information. It's used both by security professionals to protect systems and by attackers to find our weaknesses. So why is scanning so important? Scanning helps organizations maintain a strong security posture by identifying vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, and unauthorized changes, right? So basically, it's monitoring the system. It is saying, all right, oh, this port is open. Oh, there's this configuration that can be exploited. So it's just like constantly going through the system to see what weaknesses exist, right? It provides crucial visibility into an organization's entire network infrastructure. Organizations can detect and respond to emerging threats proactively rather than reactively dealing with breaches. So what are the different types of scanning that exist, right? So we have, and these are high level, there's network scanning. There's web application scanning. So the network scanning, like different ports, different IP addresses and stuff like that. Web application scanning, like if you have a JavaScript, like a node-based project, you can scan the web application to see what vulnerabilities might lie. Maybe a application did not update its packages, and now you can there's a loophole through there. There's wireless scanning to see how you can get into a network, and then we're going to talk about vulnerability scanning versus manual scanning. All right. So the first type of scanning, network scanning, identifying a live host and open ports, discovering, so you're also discovering services and their versions, and then you're also detecting vulnerabilities in network devices. So like you can have a device that has a firmware that's not updated, and you can probably get into the system that way. So there's so many different ways that through a network that makes a company vulnerable, right? So that's one type of scanning. And on the live stream, we're actually going to be practicing these different type of scannings as well. What about web application scanning? So identifying security flaws in web applications. So that's, for example, testing SQL injections, cross scripting, and CSRF, and other type of vulnerabilities that exist through web applications. So we're going to be actually trying that out as well. I have some web applications that I've built that we can spin them up and try to do these type of tests on them as well. Now we also have wireless scanning, identifying rogue access points. So different ways you can get into a company's network through their wireless, through like, maybe they didn't have a secure password or something like that. Cracking weak encryption protocols such as WEP and WPA. So what about vulnerability versus manual? So we're going to be looking into, on the live stream, we're going to be looking into, and maybe some subsequent concept and overviews, but we're going to be looking into automated vulnerability scanning tools. What tools exist to help us simplify the process versus a manual analysis, right? And I think that is good practice to. I can't speak for cybersecurity and for ethical hacking, but from a QA perspective, it is good. It is good practice to do manual work the first few times, but then eventually find a way to automate the system so that you can make sure you're catching things on a regular basis, because there's no possible way that you're going to be able to manually analyze different things all the time, right? That's just a 24/7 job. And then we're going to talk about the importance of verification to avoid false positives, because false positives will throw you for a monkey wrench. So you definitely have to find a way to verify what you're looking at is actually valid. All right, now let's talk about some scanning tools. We're not going to go into a deep dive into any of these scanning tools right now, because we're going to be using them on the live streams, right? And it's going to take us a while, because we have to go through the network, we have to go through the web application, we have to go through the other ones, right? So scanning tools for network, right? We have Nmap. I've heard that name, but I haven't used it. We have MassScan, and then we also have Angry IP Scanner. There's probably a lot of other tools as well. If you are watching this and you know some other network scanning tools, please drop them in the comments so that way I can make a note of them and I can investigate them and probably even use them on live. We also have web application tools. We have OWASP, Zap. We have Burp Suite. I've heard of Burp Suite, and we have Nikto. I haven't heard of Nikto, but if you have some additional web app tools, please drop that in the chat as well, or not in the chat, but drop it in the comments so I can have a note of that, and then we can investigate that and we can try to use those as well, because I want to know all the tools that are available for us to use at our disposal. Now, for vulnerability, we have Nessus, we have OpenVAS, and we have Qualsys, right? Or Quals, I guess. I haven't used any of these. Nessus sounds familiar, but I don't believe I know it, right? So we're going to, like I said, we're going to be getting involved in all of these. And then for wireless, we have AirCrack NG and Kismet. What I'll try to do is see if I can crack my own router over here. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, right? But that is, so those are some of the scanning tools that are available. So what are the phases of scanning? So we have reconnaissance and information gathering, which we went into the past few weeks. We also have a software expiration for that that I can link in the corner over here. We have port scanning and service enumeration, which is identifying open ports and running services, and then detecting firewalls and IDS IPS systems. We're going to get into that on the live streams. We have vulnerability detection, another phase, which is matching services with known vulnerabilities, exploitable misconfigurations. So how do you interpret the results for your scanning? Like, so when you finish scanning, how do you interpret the results? So you interpret it by reading the Nmap reports and vulnerability scan outputs. You interpret it by identifying potential false positives and filtering out the noise. We also have to filter out the noise, right? And then prioritizing vulnerabilities based on risk assessment. So now after you have a list of vulnerabilities, all right, this one is this one is like top level G14 classified. We have to get that one taken care of right away, drop everything and get that taken care of. But then you have, oh, well, this one right here is not a big deal. We should get that. We have like a few months before we have to worry about that. So you have to prioritize it. Like, it's always about prioritizing. All right. So what are some mitigation and reporting tactics? So document findings for responsible disclosure. You don't just send it out to everybody, right? Recommended remediation steps to secure the system. So instead of just saying, all right, this is what I found, also you have to give some recommendations. Okay, what can we do to protect the system? That is, to me, I think that is a part of the job, right? And also providing some best practices for securing networks against scans. So we don't although as part of penetration testing, we'll be doing the scanning, we don't want our network to be scanned. So you have to give them some insight on how to prevent their network from being scanned or how to secure their network from being scanned as well. So let's talk about a case study for the scanning, right? And this takes place in a financial institution. A penetration testing firm was hired by a mid-sized financial institution to conduct a security assessment of their external and internal network infrastructure. The goal was to identify vulnerabilities that attackers could exploit to gain unauthorized access to sensitive financial data. We don't want that happening, right? So in the reconnaissance phase, the ethical hackers used Nmap and Masscan to scan the institution's public-facing IP addresses and internal networks. They discovered several open ports, including port 20. Oh my God, not 22, not SSH. That is probably one of the most dangerous ports you can have open. They also discovered that port 443, the HTTPS port, was also open. And oh my goodness, port 3389 is how you remote access into a network, right? So that's how you can connect. Like, let's say you work from home and you have a PC in the office. That's how you can connect to it. No. Port 3389 should not be open unless you're able to connect to a VPN, right? And then port 445. SMB server message block. Oh my goodness, this is bad. This is bad. Like, this is really, really bad. Very, maybe a port. I don't know what port you would want to have open, but not these ports. Not all of these ports. That is bad. That is bad. So in phase 2, the service enumeration and vulnerability scanning, right? Using Nmap scripts, Nessus, and OpenVAS, they probed the services running on these ports. Key finding, so this is what they found. An outdated Apache web server running on port 443. Oh my God, not the web server, not the Apache web server. Oh my goodness. A misconfigured SMB service on port 445, vulnerable to eternal blue. The CVE 2017-0144, and an exposed RDP service on port 39 without multi-factor authentication. This is a death wish. This is a death wish for a financial institution. That is not good at all. All right. So phase 3 of the exploitation and proof of concept. To verify the vulnerabilities, the penetration testers used Metasploit to exploit Eternal Blue, successfully gaining a shell on a Windows server. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. They used Hydra to perform a brute force attack on the exposed RDP service, discovering weak administration. Oh my, it just gets worse and worse. It gets worse and worse. A manual review of the web application revealed an outdated Apache version, which was susceptible to directory traversal attacks. Oh my God, this is so bad. So in phase 4, reporting and mitigation recommendations. The findings were compiled into a detailed penetration testing report, highlighting the risk of suggested mitigations, patching and updating the Apache server, disabling SMBv1 and patching against Eternal Blue, enforcing strong passwords and multi-factor authentication (MFA) for RDP, hardening firewall rules to restrict unnecessary open ports. 100%. So what were the outcomes of this case study? For this financial institution, the financial institution promptly applied the recommended security measures, significantly reducing its attack surface. A follow-up penetration test confirmed the vulnerabilities were mitigated, improving the organization's overall cybersecurity posture. Awesome. All right. So what were the key takeaways from this case study? Scanning helps uncover critical vulnerabilities before attackers can exploit them. Automated tools like Nmap, Nessus, and OpenVAS speed up the process, but require manual verification. I cannot wait to get into these because I am an automation engineer through and through. And lastly, reporting findings clearly and offering actionable mitigation steps ensure security improvements. All right, 100%. So let's wrap it up with this. This is our conclusion. Like we had an introduction to scanning. We spoke about the different types of scanning, the tools that are used for scanning, the different phases of scanning, how to interpret your results, and what are some mitigation and reporting tactics. And we went over a case study for a financial institution. And lastly, if you have any feedback, I know this was a very, very quick high-level overview, but we're going to be spending weeks upon weeks working on this on our live stream on Thursday nights. So if you have any questions about what we covered today, please drop me a comment so I can answer them on the live stream as well. So please let me know. But I really, really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this value and allowing me to add value to you. I am going to go back to full screen. With that being said, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I truly, truly appreciate it. Hopefully that you guys, this was a good warm up for game time tomorrow when we are going to be getting into scanning and see how it works, what we need to do, what tools that we need. We're going to be downloading the tools, installing them if they're not already installed on Kali Linux. We have our Kali Linux running strong using VMware. Shout out to Prince Marky D who helped me get VMware Fusion on my Mac. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, so that's about it. So we're gonna wrap it up for today. But before we do wrap it up, do me a big favor. Couple of announcements. If you have not taken the traumatic brain injury questionnaire, please do me a favor. It is in the description as well as in the chat. My cousin suffered a traumatic brain injury last year. She had a biking accident and she is recovering from that. But she's also a mathematician and a system engineer who is collecting data to help those who also suffered from a traumatic brain injury and they're having difficulty dealing with it, as well to help the family members and friends and relatives of those people as well. So please fill out the questionnaire as she is gathering information to start generating content, maybe podcasts, maybe blog posts on how to deal with a traumatic brain injury and how to help people who have suffered one, how to help them deal with it as well, all right? So please fill out that questionnaire, as well as do me a favor on your way out. If you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell every time we go live and drop new content, as well as go to techcoachdrop.dev, sign up for exclusive content. You can sign up for one-on-one coaching with me. When you sign up for a tiered membership or a tiered account, you will be, and you link your Patreon account to your Discord account, you will be teleported into the Team Tech Coach Drop Discord, where we are doing great things. I'm having my tech barbarians who's going to be presenting things so that they can get more comfortable speaking in different settings. And that way they can add value to you as well. And you guys can collaborate. For those who are not part of the coaching group, you guys can work with each other. The goal is for you to actually work on tech things to build experience. That is my goal. That is my pride and joy, to see you guys actually building out the things that you say you want to learn, all right? And I'm in there all the time to give some insight, to give some overview on, and I'm also going to be doing office hours in there as well. So if you want to ask me a question off that is not on Stream Tuesday, you can join me in the Discord. I'm probably going to be doing it every other weekend for about an hour or two, where you can jump in, ask me any question that you have. If you need me to look at your resume, I'll look at your resume in the Discord, and I'll bring it up on the screen, and you'll be there, and other people might be there as well, and we can give some feedback on your resume, all of that good stuff. All right. So that is the plan. That's techcoachdrop.dev. Don't hesitate. Join today, and let me add more and more value into your life. All right. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Software Explorations Custom Overviews with Tech Coach Ralph. We just talked about scanning. This is Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.
Got a wall around my feelings, built strong like a fortress. Lost inside a maze, emotions in deep storage. Careful when I step, trust is fragile and thin. Words they cut so easily, then they're gone like the wind.
People play the game, say they'll be there and vanish. Promises like shadows in the daylight, they vanish. Guarded heart, I move in silence, whispers in the dark. Can't let them see me slipping, gotta always stay on guard. Guarded heart, I got emotions that they'll never see. Protective armor on this soul that's always watching me. with mine. Secrets in my eyes, mysteries behind my gaze. People think they know me, but they're lost within the haze. Invisible scars from the lies and broken phrases. Walking through the fire, I emerge from the blazes. Truth and lies, they mingle, dancing like it's fate. So I guard my soul and never second guess my gate. Trust is rare and precious, like a diamond in the rough. In a world of masks and mirrors, gotta stay tough. Got it hard, I got emotions that they'll never see. Protective armor on this soul that's always watching me. Trust is delicate, a thread I'm holding close and tight. Living in the shadows, always careful.